welcome to the YouTube channel. This is the Artist Corner where we talk about what it is to be an independent artist. If you found me on the YouTube channel, on the Instagram, sorry about that. If you found me on the Instagram, thank you for coming over to the YouTube channel. And if you found me on the YouTube channel, go check out my Instagram where we can find in real time me putting these practices into place. So today we are talking about building a catalog versus just dropping a song. And we want to talk about what is a catalog and why it matters. Royalties, sync licensing, the whole shebang. Now, because I want to make sure that I'm giving you accurate information, I'm not off the dome with this. I looked it up. I actually have what each thing is. So if you have a pen and pad and you want to write this stuff down, please be my guest, get the information, be on it. As an independent artist, I feel like it's better to go in knowing information so you don't get screwed if you do work with a label or any powerful companies and things like that. So first, let's talk about what is a catalog and why it matters. Okay, so a catalog is the full body of music you own or control, released and unreleased. Okay, it's valuable because royalties, sync placements, and licensing deals usually pull from existing songs, not just new drops. Okay, keep that in mind. The bigger and better organized your catalog is, the more opportunities there are for your music to earn long term, even when you're not actively promoting. Okay? Your catalog is your musical library. It's not just about your newest song. It's everything you've ever made and owned. That's what generates royalties, sync placements, and licensing opportunities over time. This is very, very important. This is something I think if you are writing this information now, put a freaking star next to it. If you know how to do Excel, if you have Google Docs, if you have Google Sheets, whatever system you're using, I suggest you go in there and you catalog every single song that you have written, title. I suggest that you go in there and you write down when you wrote this song, how many minutes this song has, how many BPMs this song has, what key the song is in, who produced it or mixed and mastered that song. Is this song released or unreleased? Is it a part of a full project or is it a single? These things matter when building your catalog. And also it just organizes your work so that when you register your work, which is something we talked about last month, you now have a full spreadsheet of all of your music categorized in one singular place so that you know what you own and what you've worked on and what you have completed. This is going to help you so much in the long run when it comes to running your own business, because remember, like we talked about before, you are a brand, you are a business, and you need to organize yourself as such. I'm talking to y'all, but I'm also talking to me. Okay, light children? So the next thing we want to talk about is a release cadence versus quality. Evergreen songs versus a trend song. So we would say that a trend song is whatever is popping right now, you built a song around it. Like the trend where it was a hot girl summer, so everybody was trying to do like these hot girl summer songs where I'm a hot girl, you a hot girl, we going out, we shaking ass, like kind of vibes. And then you had the dance trends where everybody was putting out a line dance song, or everybody was putting out a song that had like some type of movement to it. And that's usually a general trend that kind of cycles through, people doing dance moves to songs. And then you have evergreen songs, a Christmas song. You know, every Christmas they're gonna play your song, regardless if they know you or not. They're gonna play it because it's a Christmas song. That's why people do Christmas covers, or they reinvent songs that they already had, like Sabrina Carpenter did and made it into a Christmas song while it was already still a pop song. So she double generated on that song. Okay, so a release cadence is how often you drop music. But quality determines longevity, okay? Lock that in, write that down. That's a bullet point note. Evergreen songs are timeless. They keep earning years later and work well for sync and licensing. Okay? What I mean when I said Sabrina Carpenter put out a song, it did very well to the point where she could also re-release it again as a Christmas song. So now it is a evergreen song. It is a song that will be consistently played throughout the holidays every single year. She knows she's making royalties off of it. A commercial can use it in their Christmas sales. And the original song can also still be used. Espresso is an evergreen song. How many people started to trend espresso martinis after the song dropped? And espresso martinis are still going to be a thing in the that people drink. So that song is going to continue to get traction regardless if it's popular right now or not. A trend song rides a moment. They can boost visibility fast, but usually have a shorter lifespan. These are what you would call those one-hit wonders. They trended for a certain amount of time. Well, no, we wouldn't even call it a one-hit wonder, because I would say a one-hit wonder would live in the evergreen space. This is a song that was popping. It hit when it hit, and it kind of tore itself out. Like you kind of like, okay, this was cool. Like, oh God, I don't want to keep hearing it. And right now, I don't want to say for me what I think would have been a trend song compared to an evergreen song, because most people would not agree. But I would say go look up some songs that were trendy during the 90s or the 80s or the early 2000s. What was the most trendiest song? Like everybody was listening to it, right? That's going to be the trend song. And then look up your evergreen songs. These are songs that are timeless. These are household name songs that you can hear over and over and over and never get tired of it, because it's such a longevity song. Anything by Michael Jackson. Anything by Whitney Houston. I wanna dance with somebody. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that song and I still love that song. You feel what I'm saying? Or I'm going down by Mary J. Blige. It's one of those songs. So dropping often helps visibility, but quality builds longevity. Trend songs catch moments. Evergreen songs build careers. The goal is balance, not burnout. So nothing is wrong with doing a trend song. And I don't want anybody to think, oh man, well, I guess I won't. No, trend songs are great, but make sure you have a catalog to back up the trend. You got a song that popped off. This was the one, that was the hit, that was the thing. It started, like, popped off in that season. Like, what's that girl name? I can't even think of her name. But, excuse me, she was popping. When she popped off, she popped off. And then she had a little catalog to kind of follow her up, so she had a few more tracks. Now, after a while, a lot of her tracks started to kind of sound alike, but she did her thing. So that's what versus, release cadence versus quality all the time. So, like I said, you can do a trend song, but make sure you have evergreen songs to complete your catalog. Okay, so the next thing we're going to tackle here is called building value. All right, so that's metadata, that's registrations, stems, masters, exclusive rights. We talked about this at the end of December, and what that looks like, because I'm going to tell you, not having the right information when it comes to registering, not having the stems when it comes to beat making, not having exclusive rights or masters to any of your work is going to be a downfall for a lot of independent artists. So make sure you look at the contracts you sign. Make sure you look at and you sit down and talk to people you talk to when it comes to labeling. If you're just an independent artist out here going to a studio and paying that studio does not own your work if you're paying them. Like, if you paid them for your work and you've completed paying them for your work, they don't own your music. It is a studio. And people need to realize the difference between a studio and a label. They do not own your work. You own your work. So if anybody is holding your work and you're like, oh, I can't get my stuff from this. No, they do not own your work. They do not own anything that you have. You have all rights to grab that music if it is your music. Okay? And either go somewhere else or negotiate work, like whatever it is, you own your music. Okay, so music only earns properly if it's set up correctly. I'm gonna say it again for the people in the back. Music only earns properly if it's set up correctly. Metadata ensures you get paid and credited. Registrations, PORs, distributors, publishing protects your rights. Stems and masters make your music unusable for film, TV, and remixes because you own them. You have to give people permission to use them. Exclusive rights determine who can license or profit from the song. Unorganized music loses money even if it's good. Okay, I'll repeat that again. Who can license so exclusive rights determines who can license or profit from the song. Unorganized music loses money. Unorganized music loses money, even if it's good. A great song isn't valuable if it's not registered, labeled, and protected. Metadata, stems, and masters are what turn art into assets. You can have the best song. I'm gonna tell you, I've said this to you guys last month. I have 2 grandparents who have passed away, and because they did not have the proper channels in place for their music, they got no royalties for it during the time of them being alive. And then when they passed, those royalties, their family, by the grace of God, my family, decided we need to figure out how to claim these royalties and what we should do. Now, one of my grandparents, he performed it. And some people don't even know you can get, performance rights. Because you performed a song, even if somebody else wrote it, you performed it and you sang it. That is profit. But because that was not put in his paperwork, he did not get any performance rights. So the bit of royalties that we did fight for was only for a couple of songs, and he has a catalog worth of music, worth big bucks that cannot be given to the family because it was not properly registered and he was not properly protected. So please, 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 please protect your work. This is one of the biggest things that happen to a lot of independent artists, and why some of your favorite artists may have came out the gates. They look like they balling and they got their money right and they're doing all this shit, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, where did they go? Because they didn't own any of their music. Ne-Yo for a long time was writing for a lot of different artists. I remember hearing about him writing for Marcus Houston, but originally the music that Marcus Houston was singing was for Ne-Yo. And Ne-Yo wrote, produced, and went to the studio and was, trying to get his leg in the door, and they were like, not yet, but we would love to have you be a writer. And then begin to write for this person. Now, he put the right things in place, so he got residuals off of that because he was one of the main writers. But some people don't do that, okay? So just make sure you protect your work. The last thing we're going to talk about, I know this one is a little longer, but this stuff is important, guys. If you're an independent artist, be knowledgeable about your work. Don't just go into this industry thinking, oh, I'm gonna drop a song, I'm gonna get famous, and I'm gonna be up in this thing. And you don't want to just be famous, you want to be successful. And that's where a lot of people forget. You don't want to just be famous, because you can get famous and be broke. And that's just really what it is, you know what I'm saying? So make sure you're protecting your work. So the last thing we're going to talk about is called cross-medium thinking, which is repurposing your music for film, merch, and performances. So repurposing your music is pretty cool. I do a lot of that now. I repurpose my music because my album hasn't dropped yet. So I've had to repurpose a few of my songs, and I use it for my background sounds. I use it for intros to other things. I repurpose a lot of my music. But the reason why we do this, music doesn't live in one lane. One song can support multiple income streams. film, TV, placements, live performances, visuals, merch, and brand partnerships. Thinking cross mediums turns each release into a flexible tool instead of one-time moments. One song can live in a film, on a stage, in merch, and online. When you think cross medium, your music works harder for you instead of you working harder for your music. So a good example of this is, say I get asked by Jordan Peele. He's doing some like creepy religion gay movie or whatever, and he hears my song Churchman, and he's like, oh man, the darkness in this song is so good. I love the concept behind it. We want it to be put into our scary movie that's dealing with like the church and gay people. And I'm like, bet, heck yeah, use it. From there, I can now, once the movie is out, I can get merch, like physical merch that has the title of the movie, and then it has a QR code that goes directly to Churchman that I can sell. That's promoting the movie that my song is in, but also promoting my song, right? I can then perform this song live anywhere and let people know that this song. Now, I'm gonna let you know, you can't let people know about a song being in a movie until the movie is out. Okay? You signed the NDAs and contracts and shit like that, so you can't let nobody know that it's out until it's out. But once it's out, you can now make residuals off of that. So yeah, but in the meantime, in the background, while it's being worked, you can now produce merch for it. You can plan performances around it. And you can also have online commentary about it. Like, get yourself an interview and say, man, it was so cool for them to ask me to put this in their movie. The experience is amazing, that they wanted it, and I even got to do a cameo or whatever the work, however, it goes. But that's how you play into using your music for more than one thing. You can go on CapCut, find one of them random slideshows, and put in the theme of your song in there, and it will literally find a video that goes well with your song, and then you put the two together, and then you can promote it on socials. Now your song is revamped in a new way. Okay? A good example of this, if you've been on my TikTok and if you've been on my Instagram, I promoted, I found a video on CapCut, which was a bunch of churches, like old school, like scary looking churches. And I put Churchman behind it. Not the whole song, but just enough of the song to capture that emotion of being in the LGBT community and trying to go into a church, especially one of those old cathedral type churches, right? So singles get attention. Catalogs build wealth. And that's really the point of all this. I love you like children. Thank you for joining my channel. Thank you for always coming through on my channel. Please like and subscribe. It's right there. Just go ahead and click that little bell, subscribe, so that you can get notifications if you are an independent artist. In any medium, this still matters for you. Just like putting out a piece of artwork, but then not having anything to follow it up. If somebody says, oh my God, your art is amazing, can we do a gallery? And you're like, I only have this one piece. What are we doing? You know what I'm saying? Or you take some photos and you're like, oh, these photos are great. You post it on social media and somebody says, oh my God, your photos are amazing. Can I see your portfolio? And you're like, oh, I only got this one. You know what I'm saying? These are the things you put in place. Register your music. Make sure you have a catalog. Make sure you're prepared to be in this industry. Don't just jump in here thinking, oh, I'm good enough, I'm talented enough to make it. Honey, there's a million people in this industry who can sing. The difference between you and them is, are you going to do the work? Or are you going to just wait for somebody to find you? Food for thought. So, I love you like children. We'll see you next week. Meow.